Y'all ain't heard nothing like this before. Beat him in the head with this trilogy. Who dropped this for a certain demographic? Turn it up, blast it. This is gonna be a classic. Facts. Not to run it.
Hey, welcome to Gangsters and Cigars, a brand new episode. We are live at Rock and Roll Circus. My co-host today is Tommy Law, owner of Rock and Roll Circus. It is the baddest place to hang out in St. Augustine, a beautiful St. Augustine. He has two locations, one downtown in the historic district, along with his new location that has a bar, live music, kick-ass clothing shop. If you're in St. Augustine, you got to come by. Let's start it off as I always do. To my paisans and comadres, Chio, and how are y'all? Thanks for tuning in again for a very, very special brand new episode. I'm stoked to be here with a great friend of mine, Tommy. Before we get started, let's thank some of our sponsors. Thank you to Lou at Smoke Ring 72 in beautiful Merritt Island, Florida, and to my close friend all the way from Bristol, UK, Steve Sage from Bully Tattoos, located in DeBary, Florida. So thank you all for being a sponsor. Thank you all out there for continuing watching us and putting up with my bullshit and rhetoric. I appreciate it. But no further ado, we're going to talk about clothing lines. We're going to talk about rockabilly. We're going to talk about how Tommy got started in the business. You all know that I had my brush of fame in the rock and roll industry, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're just going to have a good time. I told Tommy that we don't have a filter, but I think he's a little shy, so I'm going to keep myself down to a nice, quiet Bobby Bacala, as opposed to what you all are used to. Going to be a good time anyway. So without further ado, Shirtless Mike, you know, is my co-host. He's slinging cigars. He's pimping over at Smoke Rings right now. Sorry he can't be on. We're having schedule difficulties with some of our guests as far as Mike trying to get off from being the big pimp that he is at Smoke Rings. So, you know, lots of love to my co-host, Shirtless Mike. But for today, my co-host is going to be the one, the only, the infamous Tommy Law with Rock and Roll Circus. Tommy, man, great to be on the show.
Thanks, Bobby.
Cheers, brother.
Welcome to the circus.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Great. Really appreciate the Gangsters and Cigars and my great friend Bobby.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're going to get kicking. Real quick plug from Gangsters and Cigars. The Hitman is now available. Make sure you guys get out. Smoke Rings is carrying the Hitman. It'll be available shortly all over. You know that you can hit me up also on our channel or inbox me, but you got to try the Hitman. They're selling out everywhere. All right. I give it to Tommy. Tommy don't smoke cigars. I know. Don't hold it against him, guys. Anyway, so Tommy, beautiful place, man.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
I dig the vibe. I dig the rockabilly. I dig the UK clothes. You know that I've been shopping with you for years before you opened up this location. I got every pair of checkered pants. I got every epoch hat that you have. You know my wife, Dawn, and matter of fact, believe it or not, she's over there shopping. So we love the vibe. Can't wait to see a live act here. I may even throw a reunion show here one night with you, but we'll talk about that too.
Absolutely.
So how'd you get started in the industry?
Well, my wife and I have always been into fashion. I got to pretty much say that she's the brains behind it all. And I was driving around in our Volkswagen van. Sure enough, we see this store in New York City, and she actually jumps out of the van, goes into this clothing manufacturer from India, and she says, "Your fabric is gorgeous, but it's not cut for American women. I could design it." He said, "You can design it. You come to India, and I'll give you certain much for every design." She said, "What I'd rather have is if you give me merchandise up front, we'll pay you back at the end of the year." So it was a word of mouth, it was a handshake. Just like the old days, we fulfilled our promise. We paid them every year in the fall, and that way we were able to really sell our dresses at festivals as professionals with a great selection up front, and we built a name for that industry and got into the great Celtic Irish rock shows all over the country, and just really established ourselves. And meanwhile, always having stores, and homeschooling our kids and home birthing our kids, and it's been super fun. We've done it our way, and because
good for you, man. I mean, that is absolutely a success story when you build something from the bottom up. And well, first off, I wish I had your VW van, but that's another story. But to go to festivals and travel with your kids, and I mean, it's beautiful. You can't ask for more of a bonding experience than that. Again, it's like a modern day hippie story. You're into the music, you're into the scene, which is just badass. So I know we spoke, well, when I come in, we're always bullshitting about something, but you traveled through the whole U.S. I know you went to Europe. You did some shit in Europe as well.
We love the UK. Yep. We love Ireland and the UK. And we got really inspired in Camden Market of the kind of whole 60s mod style. We've always loved that. The old movies, To Sir With Love, and the old Quadrophenia. And we came upon this son and his father who had this shop with the Vespa scooters and the really slim leg clothing. And we started just kind of looking at their styles and their brands, and found out we actually formed our own connections back here in the States. And we import all of our clothing still from London, and all of our rock shirts come from Liverpool. So they're licensed, but they're unique. You won't have them like at Target or places like that. We have a great price, but we pay the tariffs on them. We, have all these people who are emailing in, the UK that we've never met face to face, but it's been super fun. They're great to work with, and they're, all professionals, so that we can bring a real, eclectic, nice line to the store. And then you walk through the back of the dresses, and it opens up to our beautiful Rock and Roll Circus music venue, where pretty much all the music kind of supports our clothing. So you can hear rockabilly music, you can buy rockabilly clothes, you can hear some punk bands, and then we come up and got some Cramp shirts and some Pill and some vaccines, from modern. We try to do modern to old school in every genre if possible.
Every time I wear any of your clothes, especially the UK pants, some leg pants, I mean, I get compliments everywhere. My Dead Kennedy shirts and some of the other shirts I have gotten from you, you just don't see them anywhere. So it's funny. I had a Thin Lizzy shirt on that I bought from you, and I'm sitting in a bar with Dawn, and the guy goes, "You know who that is?" And I'm like, I'm looking at him, I don't know who the hell he's talking about. He goes, "You know that band?" I said, "Damn, yeah, I came up with Thin Lizzy." I said, "Yeah, of course I do." "Where'd you get that?" I said, "St. Augustine." He goes, "Where?" So I said, "Mods is when your other shop, when you were still having your men's clothes and before you moved over here." So he's like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know they existed." I said, "Man, you got to go in there." But it's just that small world and the connections up, because you just don't see those shirts out. Like you said, you're not going to go to stores that, you're going to see your Guns N' Roses and shit like that, and Def Leppard shirts, but all the other type of shirts. My son absolutely digs. I bring him shirts all the time. He's a musician. Matter of fact, April, he goes back to, he's with Jillian Carter. They have just been nominated top 10 albums of the year and nominated as the best screamo band in the United States and longest screamo band. They start tour again, Japan in April, UK, I think in May or June, and then Central America again. So if I bring him something from here, one of your shirts and stuff, he just, he wears that damn thing to death, and his buddies are always saying, "Where the hell's your dad get the cool clothing?" So not a shameless plug. I'm being 100% honest, or I wouldn't be sitting here with Tommy. My fans and family, you all know I don't peddle bullshit, and I'm straight up and I tell the truth. And this is absolutely one of those stories where I fell in love with Tommy's shop and Tommy and his wife the first time that I met him. So rock stories, and then we'll get into your rock stories and some more of the bands that are playing here and some of your clothing line. I want to take a walk around. I want to show the shop and some of your clothes that you have available as well. So anyway, I had a slight brush. So I was still working on the police department, and my buddy was a guitarist, and it was like, you get off from work, and what do you do? So besides drinking, so him and I started playing music. Well, this is really cool, man, playing some music. We need to get other people involved. So we ended up with a singer, ended up with a drummer. The name of the band was Hung. We started playing out Orlando, and there used to be a radio network. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. They were syndicated. They're not around anymore, but they used to be called the Round and Ron Network. And they were all over the U.S. They were huge out of Tampa. Because we were all cops, they take us under their wing, and we were on their show every week. We used to do their live gigs. They had a hook with Warner Brothers. So we're playing out, and it was I think the allure of people wanting to come see us because we were playing metal going, you guys can't play metal, you guys are all freaking cops. We had some interesting things. We're playing at a big, huge festival, and we had a huge mosh pit going. We're playing. Place is packed, and we see some local cops, and then they're in the middle of the shit. Guys in the mosh pit are throwing garbage pails at them and shit. So we take my fucking bass, I throw my bass down, and my partner throws his guitar down. We get up, we jump into the middle of the crowd, and we start meleeing. So this is all on the evening news, right? Cops are playing rock band. So that gave us that, the cops got this outlaw image. Ended up in a lawsuit, by the way. But anyway, had that outlaw image, and then we just started playing all over, headlining, House of Blues, headlining, hard rock, opening up for Megadeth and other bands. And so it took off. That was another marriage. But, it goes to your head. So, I always used to say, these fucking rock guys, I mean, nah, man, it really goes to your head. You get that attention, and the room cards on top of my bass amplifier and other shit. You start being stupid and running around, and Warner Brothers contacted us. So we meet them, 2 A&R reps and 2 of their attorneys. So we're ready to sign. I'm like, I'm done with this cop shit. We're going to sign. So they wanted to send us to Europe to do a tour in Europe because they thought we'd be successful in Europe because of who we were, being in law enforcement. That over there they'd go, well, they think that all cops in the United States are cowboys anyway. So they thought this was going to be great. So they sent some shit over to the UK. They wanted us to go to the UK and record a whole new CD and album. I'm down. So the lead singer, his wife was pregnant at the time. So he's like, I don't know if I can leave my wife because we were going to go tour Europe and shit. I don't know if I can leave. So the A&R guys said, we're leaving back to New York at 10 a.m. the next day. You have till 10 a.m. to make up your mind what you want to do. 11 o'clock comes along, and the lead singer goes, yeah, let's do this. And unfortunately, Warner Brothers said I gave you till 10. Oh. So that's we were on our way to fame, and we had some other like Songbird Records hit us up, but I think we had a bad taste in our mouths because the lead singer did what he did, and this is something that we really wanted. We still played. The last headlining show we did was in 2000, so I miss it like hell. We tried to get a couple of reunion shows together. I think when you get a little bit older, I played with some other bands since then, a couple of punk bands and stuff like that. I still play. I got another band going right now, but it is, man. It's addictive. You get in that, as you know, from doing the festivals and into the music. The scene is addictive. The people are addictive, and I don't mean addictive I'm not talking about dope and shit addictive. I'm talking about the scene is addictive, and that allure of even, local fame, like even state of Florida fame and throughout the South, that we were really popular. Just that shit, and walking around either at the mall or being in a bar and people coming over and saying, "Oh man, can I take pictures with you?" and stuff like that. It just gets in your head. And I didn't give a shit. I didn't want to be a cop anymore. I wanted to be a rock star. I never, I didn't set out to be a rock star, but I wanted to be a rock star. I've been playing since I was 10. So I'm like, bought my son his first bass, some piece of shit bass, because I didn't know if he was going to be into it or not. Told him, stuck him in a room, started teaching him. I says, if you want to be good, don't move out of your room. Play every genre of music and don't move out of your room. And the kid is, and I'm not saying it because he's my son, the kid is absolutely phenomenal. So I think it was like 3 years ago, he was invited up to the Grammys, and they were pressing live records of, other bands and singers and shit that come out of the Grammys, and they'd have this whole thing set up. And Bobby was one of the studio musicians, my son Bobby, which, he sent me pictures of rap stars he's playing with and all this stuff. So now, and he knows it, so I'm not a Screamo fan, but the kids are so talented musically, it's stupid. He's had some bands that were signed, managers come to him and say, we need a bass player, and my son's whole thing is, I'm not selling out, which at the end of the day, if you're making money and you're doing what you love, he hasn't gotten that yet. So it's like, there's no talking to him, but yeah, I definitely, and I think that's one of the reasons why when you opened up this place, I was like so drawn, because you get that vibe when you walk in here. It's not just like, I'm going to go check out this t-shirt place.
Yeah, we love the music. We love all different types of music. It's good and talented and well played, and a lot of great musicians are studio start-out musicians. And maybe I would say maybe better for your health you didn't become a rock star, but being your past experience probably was about the same amount of danger involved. But you're still here, and one door closes, so another one opens. But
oh, absolutely,
it's been just a pleasure you coming in and being inspired and knowing the styles and stuff. So we really like to try to teach people about the different 60s style clothing, and then we go into the 70s. We've got the the Austin Powers style flowered shirts and bell bottoms for guys, and it's so fun because fashion really can change a person. It can give them confidence to go out. You can be one style one day and another style the next day, and people really don't judge you by your experience and trying different styles. It's a great time to be alive and to mix and match styles, and so we want people to have a really good experience here and have a drink, listen to some live music, but it's really about styling up people so they can feel good about themselves and tell other people and just have a good time.
So one of my favorite genres is, like you and I spoke about, is I love rockabilly, I love psychobilly. You've got such badass clothes to go with that. There's so many events through Florida on psychobilly, but you don't see people with the proper clothing at the events. And you can always tell, somebody will walk by and you go, oh shit, man, he's got it down or she's got it down. I dig the whole pinup vibe, absolutely dig pinup vibe. And, when you see a girl walk by who's totally done pinup in the right clothes with a pair of baby dolls and everything else, and she doesn't have to be a 12 or a 15, but when you look at her, you go, damn, she looks like a 10 by the way she carries herself. And I've always been that way. I've always been into fashion. I've been made fun of a lot, but always been that guy who's been into fashion. And if you present yourself well, and this is the place to go if you want to present yourself well. I don't know if you do, and I don't think I've ever asked you if you do like rockabilly nights where everybody comes in and gets dressed, or have you ever done a pinup night in here, pinup contest?
I mean, we're so fresh and new in St. Augustine. We opened November 1st, so we're trying out all different venues. We're going to do, I think, a dance class, and then we're going to have a dance band after that. So that's going to be coming up in the next week. But right now we're promoting our new Thursday night lives. So every Thursday, you can come down here, see great live music. All of our drinks are old school cans, and $6, very reasonable. But it's about getting people here together for the music, the clothing. It relates to the music. We'll even play old school vinyl.
Nice.
We're very into giving the people what they want to have a nice. We don't want it to be like we don't stay open late. We're not like an elite bar or anything. It's
So
more.
what are your hours?
We're usually open from 12 to 9, and then we'll stay up until like 11 or 12 on Fridays, Saturdays. But yeah, we're not really considered a bar. We're mostly it's about the music. We're all about the music and the clothing, and
It's a vibe shop,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So let's say you have live music going on. So everybody's hanging out, they're vibing, they're dancing, they're digging to the live music. And I'm like, but I still want to shop. Are you open so I can walk through
Absolutely.
the red curtains?
The whole design of the stage that goes into the store. So we turn off the music in the store, and the live band becomes the backdrop music for shopping.
That's bad. I remember when you used to have music at your other shop, Mods downtown.
That's how we got the idea.
And I was
Hand
like,
out rum punch.
I remember.
Yeah. Support local music.
I can't remember how many years ago. So we had a conversation, and you told me that your dream was to move and find a location and do live music and close. And every time I'd come in, we'd bullshit, and I'd always ask you, "Did you move? Are you close to the moving? What are you doing?" And then finally, when you said, "Oh no, we got the location," and then Dawn and I came over before you even opened. And then you've been telling me about possibility of some other cool vibe neighbors that you may have, which is going to tie into the whole genre of what you got here, which I think is cool.
Yeah, we brought in our great local friend Danny from Electric Chair Tattoo.
Yep.
So he's going to take the front spot, and that'll kind of increase the vibe with the rock and roll / pinup and tattoo, and just he's been in the area for 20 some years. He actually used to have a rockabilly shop 15 years ago, so he knows all the clothing and the fashions from England. Also, he's a great guy. Again, to my beautiful, smart wife, she found this building, so we bought it to do it our own way. And
yeah, it's incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible. And again, we're going to do a walkthrough in a little bit too. And so you have a new mural that is absolutely badass that we're going to put on in a minute as well. And I think you said your son's girlfriend, am I right?
It was my son's roommate.
Roommate?
Her first mural ever. She puts out a 10 by 11 mural, and hopefully it's going to lead her to fame and fortune also. So,
it's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's absolutely cool. I dig it.
Yeah, we love art and music, and we'd really like to have maybe shows at the amphitheater when they close at 11. Maybe they'll come back for an acoustic set back here in the back, and we'll stay up until like 12:30, 1. But
we'll have to we have to talk about doing a party here one night. We'll promote some stuff, and maybe I get Steve, you big cunt. You need to come here with me one day to St. Augustine, meet my friend Tommy. Remember I was telling you before, Steve owns a great tattoo shop in the Berry called Bully Tattoo. He's from Bristol, and he can tell you some stories and cool. He was into the psychobilly scene in Bristol in the UK, and the clothing, and he was in all these different. But if you see him, he's about the size of the wall.
That'd be great.
He's got a head like about a watermelon. He's a great guy. Steve, you're coming with me, man. I don't want to hear it. I know I can't get a word in edgewise when you and I are together, but I'm bringing your big ass and your big head over here to St. Augustine to meet Tommy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who do we have on the venue coming up? Anybody you're excited about?
Well, we got a great Southern rock and roll band tonight. It's actually a father-son started it, and they're super good Salt Run band, and they'll probably bring like 100 of their friends.
Oh, very cool,
We'll
man.
be selling our Johnny Cash shirts. We just got in some Willie Nelson shirts because he's also coming to the amphitheater. We just got in some Beach Boys shirts. They're coming to the amphitheater. And we even got in Mastodon t-shirts because they're coming to the amphitheater. So we're trying to support all the good bands coming in.
I didn't see a Mastodon t-shirts.
Yeah, get back in there. It's really nice.
So we'll play. You just you think of stupid, funny things, and so we're playing a show and opening up for us. And I don't know, you probably know him. I mean, you know every rock act. So the fathers of speed metal is Death. Remember the band Death? Not really. Oh my God, Tommy, I am so disappointed, man. I'm like, here I am saying Tommy Law is the fucking guru of everything rock and roll.
In the 80s, I was listening to 60s because I've always been that way. And then I picked up, everyone was in the 80s, and my college was playing, the Police and,
Oh, absolutely.
Dead Kennedys and the Clash.
Absolutely.
And then I was still in the, then by that time I got into the 70s, so I was listening to Humble Pie and the Faces, and then in the 90s I was going back and getting all the great vintage, Cramps and the CBGB shows coming out, the Blondie heavy metal,
You ever been to CB? You ever been?
No, my wife gives me a hard time because she went many times. But I've got two beautiful CB shirts. Those just came in.
That place is a shit show. Had some good times there.
Growing up in Denver, we were pretty much limited to Red Rocks Amphitheater or a little music hall downtown, Rainbow Music Hall, which we saw some good shows down there.
Very cool.
Band and
First concert.
First concert was John Denver with my mom, and that was a pretty good one. But my first big concert was really the Who in Denver. They would come to Denver, and we actually had to spend the night to get tickets at the Rainbow Music Hall. So we stood out line, and we were probably the youngest guys, 15, 16, and we met a lot of old school rock and rollers, and we were hanging with them. We had all night standing in line to get tickets the next morning, and that was really, it was even as fun as the concert, meeting all those people.
Oh, absolutely.
Out. And then when they came out the album Who Are You? But unfortunately Keith had died right before the tour, so full out stadium packed tour, 3 nights in a row. Of course, we went all 3 nights, and we had our money saved up for all our expenses. Got our rock shirts back then, $10, $20 for a rock shirt, but we made sure we had money for those, and I still have all my old collection of rock shirts.
I wish
tickets. Yeah,
Christ, I wish I did. So, 17 years old, my first show, and everything pales in comparison. Queen. In Tampa at the Iceplex. First year of college, I was playing ball at University of Tampa, and my friends are like, and the tickets were stupid. It was something stupid. Literally, $15, $20, something stupid. Let's go see Queen. And at the time, Killer Queen and everything else was, and I'm like, oh yeah, man, these guys are really cool. Let's go. But I didn't know much about it. Wasn't my genre of music at the time. I'm like, yeah. And I remember sitting there just going, I just can't believe this guy. I'm like, holy shit. So that was, I had other concerts, Charlie Daniels, that type of shit. But when I say it's my first show, that was my first
Absolutely.
show, which was absolutely incredible. I'm telling you about the death story, right? So Godfathers of speed metal. Playing the show, they're opening up for us. And then manager comes over and he goes, hey, aren't you the bass player for Hung? And I said, yeah. He said, well, our bass player is having an issue. He did have an issue. And he couldn't play. So he goes, on music. And I look at him and I go, man, it's 2 friggin' chords, dude. He goes, well, just run. He goes, I've heard you play before. He goes, just run the bass, do what you got to do. I'm like, all right. So I play with these guys. Guitar player is like, leaned up against his amplifier, and we get through the show. Manager asked me to go on tour with him. I says, you understand that I'm a cop, right? he's like, oh man, you bail us out. Fast forwarded a lot of years. My son comes back and he goes, I hooked up with so-and-so. He's a manager over on the island in Brevard County. I said, really? He goes, yeah. I said, he's still alive? And he goes, what are you talking about? So I tell him. He goes, oh, no, Dad, it's his son is a manager now. I said, well, when you see him, don't talk to his dad and ask if he remembers. And he goes, Dad, you don't remember his name. It's just one of those funny stories in, some of the rock bands that were out and played for.
That's great about the generations. Your son.
It is.
His
so
son
cool,
takes
man.
over the manager.
Yep. It was very cool.
Yeah, rock and roll is a generational thing, right? People learn
Absolutely.
from the great, Celtic rock coming over from England, and they went electric, and Dylan
Oh,
turned electric, and
absolutely.
people booed him, and then he kept going, and yeah.
Yep. One of my favorite bands is Dropkick. Love them. I dig I dig that mixture of sound. That punk and Celtic sound, and I love the Boston scene. I like Flogging Molly, so I got that. I love all kinds of music. As long as, like you said before, as long as it's done right.
Yeah.
I dig it.
They're talented. They're playing from their heart. It's like great.
Come on, I love the Sex Pistols, and they're probably the worst musicians that ever played. But I just dug the vibe. I've always loved. Played in a punk band. We did a lot of Sex Pistols, and I'm like, all right, this is just playing it is boring, but it's the vibe that it gave. Oh my God, man!
Even Johnny, like to this day, I love him because he's still true to his roots. He hasn't bought into any of this PC stuff, and he's so great. And really, that was what we were about. Coming off the Grateful Dead tour was freedom. It was freedom to be capitalist, to do what you want. You're not hurting anybody. You're not hurting their property. But it's freedom. Freedom with license. It's like you can't force other people to do stuff. You can't take people's stuff. And a lot of my friends, from the Grateful Dead days, they're right there with me. Like anti-communist still to this day. And if you can't make it yourself, then you're just gonna have to work harder. It's not looking for handouts. Looking for
absolutely. I'd love to see that come back. But as you guys know, I don't talk politics. But I miss the whole scene, man. I miss that, and that's why this place is so welcoming. I'm not just saying that because Tommy's a friend of mine. So please, guys, again, I don't sling bullshit. Tommy is a great guy. His wife is great people. But I mean it because what you see is exactly what you get. And just because Tommy's the owner of the store, and just because you come in here and you want to party and stuff, Tommy would talk to you like he's talking to me, and that was one of the biggest things that drew you to me was the fact that you were real, and I'm like, oh man, this guy's down to earth, and we could bullshit about all kinds of stuff, and we have the same interests. So talking about festivals, because I know that's where you started from, and your VW bus that I wish I had of yours.
It's probably rusted out by now. But,
I'd take it with the wheels falling off right now. Have you seen the prices of them?
I think it's sold the most at those auto walks.
They have. It's like
bought it split
Christ, man.
$500,000.
I know, right? Can you believe that? So there's a big Celtic festival in St. Augustine, March 11th and 12th. Tommy's going to have
we'll have live music here.
You're going to have a tent downtown.
Yep, we'll be at the festival also.
I know we're doing something with you at the festival.
Maud Mary, we're selling clothing, and we have Bobby in the booth too.
So, we're going to do something downtown. So please, if you guys are in St. Augustine, the festival is really cool. We're going to be doing something with Tommy. I'm going to be running around. Even if you want to stop by and say, hey, you got to check out his clothing line. That is killer. You got to check out my wife Dawn's antique and vintage jewelry. That's just par none. You could pick up your Hitman. I'm going to be suave and debonair in my kilt. So that's always a sight. So you can come down and check us out that way. I don't know, man. I may have to find a cool t-shirt to go with my kilt from here. So we'll have to do that next. So what I'm going to do without further ado is I am going to see if I can walk around with my laptop and get a picture of everything inside. If not, then I'll end up going to the phone and we'll end up splicing it and put it on here so people can actually get a view of everything. So let me see if I can do this. Be patient with me. And then we'll go back. We'll say goodbye to Tommy. And I'm going to enjoy myself hanging out here with him. Give me a second. Shade's got to come off. I know the signature. Oh, by the way, the hat, Tommy's place. Just thought I'd throw that in. All right, let's see. So this is the back where this may work out. So that's the stage area. Here is, you can get a nice cold drink. So the mural that Tommy was telling you about is absolutely kick-ass. Let me see if I can get that in there. All right, there we go. Look at that mirror, man. Tell me that wouldn't make a badass t-shirt.
Yeah, we'll get any shirts like that.
Badass t-shirt.
And then we'll give part of the proceeds back to the artist.
That is so cool, man. Some badass Beatles memorabilia in the back. Dude, that's my bad side. So remember I was telling you that, you know, you walk through the magic red curtains and you're into the live music area. Well, if you're looking backwards, and here are the curtains, and you can see the store, right? Which is cool. Now we're going to go inside. So some of the clothing line in Tommy's store, some of your vintage shirts for the ladies, badass jackets, look really good on my Scoot. Killer men's clothes. Yeah, you know, Bobby Bacala's favorites, the hats. There's some other cool hats. Tell me that wouldn't look badass on my Triumph, right? Check out that vintage jacket. And you know my favorite, because every time you see Bobby out, the pants. All right? I think Bobby has all of them, but I don't have those, actually. And I don't have these, but we spoke about that, and they don't have them in a 32, so he's getting a new stock in, but come in, because the pants here are absolutely killer. You know, Bobby's into rockabilly. So you got some badass rockabilly stuff, some more of the ladies stuff, and then I'm going to show you some of the t-shirt line. Oh, look at this shit. Right? All right, so you got to tell me. You ready? Hold on a minute. Let's check something out. I need some opinions. So you're going to have to click like, and you got to give me some opinions. What do you think? Can I pull it? Let me know if I could pull it. If I can pull it off, you know I'm going to have to make a decision before I leave. All right, and then you got the famous shirts that we were talking about. All right? Get all the famous shirts going on. My first concert. Pixie shirts, badass. All right, man. When have you seen a Stooges shirt? When was the last time you seen a Stooges shirt? Because I don't see them anywhere. Then Lizzie, you know my favorite, Sex Pistols, The Cramp, CBGBs. I may have been there once or twice. You know Bobby wears these. I walk around in the ladies area a minute so you guys get a better handle of what's going on. Hello.
How are you?
Good. And then they have the ladies' concert shirts as well. Oh, that is probably one of the coolest. Hold on, see if you can get it. One of the coolest CBGB shirts I've ever seen. Very cool. And, you know, 60s style clothing. And then you've got badass cowboy boots. All right. So that's like a short version, or I'd be here all day trying to show you shit. But that's a short version of what's in Tommy's place. Check it out. Rock and Roll Circus. Their own shirts. If you're in St. Augustine, you got to come by. Hang out, say hello to Tommy. Give him the code word when you walk through the door. You got to say, I know Bobby Bacala, and we're friends of Gangsters and Cigars. Without further ado,
Thanks,
Tommy, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a friend, most of all. Come to the shop. I love you. Peace out, man.